All right, ready to dive deep. Today, it's Kabbalah.
Ooh,
It's
Kabbalah.
a system of Jewish mysticism.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of buzz around it, but to be honest, it's often misunderstood.
Right.
So we've got a ton of sources for this one. Scholarly articles, historical overviews, even some primary texts, like the
Yeah.
Zohar.
Okay.
We're going to try to, unpack all of it and hopefully walk away feeling like, all right, we got some of that insider
Yeah.
knowledge.
Get into the nitty-gritty. It's a very complex and rich tradition.
Okay, so before we get to like the really, really mind-blowing stuff,
Sure.
I think we should start with the basics.
Okay.
What is Kabbalah?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it means like reception or tradition,
Right.
but what does that actually mean in practice?
So in practice, you're talking about a way to understand the universe and where we fit into it.
Hmm.
It's about seeing like the divine in
Right.
everything and how that like spiritual and physical, how they connect.
So it's not like it's not a religion, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lens, I guess.
A way of understanding Judaism.
And Judaism, yeah.
Exactly. Deeply rooted in Jewish tradition, scripture,
Uh-huh.
but it takes it kind of to a mystical level. It
Right.
reveals the hidden dimensions.
Okay, so where did this come from? I mean, did it just kind of appear one day?
Well, I mean, it's got deep roots, right?
Yeah.
But it really took shape, I guess you could say, around the 12th, 13th century in Spain.
Oh, wow.
And then there was another wave, 16th century, Palestine this time.
Mm.
And then in the 18th century, you can't forget about the rise of Hasidism.
Okay.
That popularized a lot of Kabbalistic ideas.
Wow, so it's been evolving over centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get to some of those Kabbalistic ideas. You always hear people talk about like the two sides of God.
Right.
Is that where things start to get kind of mind-bendy?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Kabbalah, it teaches that there's God as Ein Sof. That's the infinite, the unknowable, the essence of God. Like really beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, I can see how that would be hard to get your brain around that.
Yeah.
But then, how does God actually like interact with the world if he's so beyond our grasp?
Well, that's where these emanations come in.
Okay.
Kabbalists describe them as sephirot
Uh-huh.
and partsufim.
Mhm.
Think of it as the spiritual light flowing from the Ein Sof. It's how the infinite connects with the finite.
Wait, hold on. So there's Ein Sof,
Yep.
which is beyond everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's this light that creates the world.
Right.
That sounds like two gods to me.
I can see how it might sound like that.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that Kabbalah is truly rooted in monotheism.
Right.
It's about the one God revealing himself in different ways.
Okay.
Ein Sof is the source. And these emanations, that's how that source interacts with the creation,
Okay.
with what we see and experience.
Okay. So how do these emanations actually work? What are they like?
Okay, well, the Sephirot, right? Think of those as God's 10 attributes, like building blocks
Hmm.
of creation. But they're also ethical qualities.
Uh-huh.
And this is really key for understanding how Kabbalah can like impact your everyday life.
Oh, okay. So these emanations are connected to how we should live.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, so for example, you've got cheese,
Go ahead.
which represents loving kindness, and then there's gevira,
Okay.
which represents strength, justice, and then there's rechamim,
Okay.
which is compassion, mercy.
Mhm.
So these are forces, cosmic forces,
Yeah.
and they're reflected in us.
So it's like these qualities are built into reality itself,
Mhm.
and then we have the potential to embody them.
That's right. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even good qualities, you take them to the extreme, they can be harmful.
Okay.
So too much cheese, without a balance, without that gevura,
Uh-huh.
it can lead to problems.
So even something like loving kindness needs boundaries.
Yeah. Think about it. If you're always giving, always, no limits,
Yeah.
you can end up depleted, taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah.
Balance is key.
Okay.
And that's where Tiferet comes in.
They're free.
That's the sephira of beauty and harmony.
Hmm.
That represents the need to kind of integrate all those sephiro.
Wow. I'm really starting to see how these concepts like have real implications.
Yeah.
Like not just these abstract ideas,
Exactly.
but if these sephiro are part of this cosmic flow, Like, where do we fit in? Like, where
Yeah.
do humans fit into all of this?
Right.
Are we just kind of along for the ride?
No, not at all. Kabbalah actually says that we are central to all of this. Yeah, we're not just bystanders, we're participants.
Okay.
And to understand that, we have to talk about the soul.
Okay, let's talk about the soul. I'm all ears.
So, according to Kabbalah, the soul, it's got three parts: nefesh, ruach,
Okay.
and neshama.
So break those down for me.
Okay. So nefesh, that's the most basic,
Uh-huh.
connected to our physical needs, desires,
Okay.
our instincts. Then you've got ruach, that's our emotions.
Mm.
Intellect, moral compass.
So nefesh is like our primal drives.
Yeah.
And then ruach is where, like, our conscience comes in.
Yeah, your intellect.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And then there's neshama. That's the high part. That connects us with the divine.
So that's like the part of us that kind of yearns for something beyond just, just this world.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The part that seeks meaning.
Exactly. And Kabbalah takes it even further with this concept of
Or
reincarnation.
training. Gilgul Neshama. It's the idea that the soul, it's not over after this life.
Right.
We might go through multiple lifetimes, learning, evolving along the way.
Okay, so reincarnation. That adds a whole new dimension to spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm sensing a pattern here. It seems like everything in Kabbalah is like multi-layered.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
You're picking up on something. It's about uncovering those deeper layers,
Right.
both within us and in the world.
Okay.
Speaking of uncovering deeper layers, have you heard of Simtum,
Situm.
Shavira, and Tikkun?
I've heard the words, but honestly, I have no idea what they mean.
That's fair.
It sounds a little bit like a mystical spell
Uh-huh.
or something like that.
Not quite a spell, but definitely mystical.
Okay.
Think of it like Kabbalah's version of the Big Bang,
Oh, okay.
like the creation story.
So Simtum.
Tzimtzum is God contracting his infinite light
Hmm.
to make space for creation.
Okay, so this is before the physical universe even existed.
Yeah, you could say that.
It's like the prequel to the Big Bang.
Right.
Okay.
It's getting at that mystery of how something finite, how can it come from the infinite?
Right, right.
But here's where it gets interesting. So that initial creation, we call it tohu.
Tohu, okay.
It was unstable. It shattered.
It shattered.
That's Shavira, the breaking of the vessels.
So creation is inherently like broken.
It's a heavy concept.
Yeah, that is heavy.
Yeah, it is. But here's the hopeful part.
Papan.
Tikkun. Okay.
It's our job. It's humanity's job
Okay.
to help repair the world.
So we have a role to play in healing this cosmic brokenness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every action, every choice, even your thoughts, the impact the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
We're all a part of this big tikkun olam,
Tikkun olam.
repairing the world.
So repairing the world, that's Tikkun olam.
Wow, this is pretty incredible. I'm starting to see how Kabbalah isn't just about like, some esoteric knowledge.
Right.
It's a call to action. It's a way of engaging with the world in a way that's really, really meaningful.
Yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore.
We are just scratching the surface, but I think my brain needs a moment to catch up.
Ah,
We've covered a lot of ground.
we have.
So we're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
but we'll be right back to delve even deeper into this fascinating world of Kabbalah.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about Tikkun Olam,
Mm-hmm.
repairing the world.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this concept. It sounds like a real call to action, but what does that look like in practice?
Well, it's multifaceted, right?
Yeah.
On a personal level, I mean, it starts with inner work. Refining your own character traits.
Okay.
Aligning yourself with those divine emanations.
So it's about working on yourself first.
Yeah, in a way.
Like becoming like the best version of yourself so you can go out and make a positive impact.
That's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
But it's not just personal growth.
Right.
Tikkun Olam is also about engaging with the world,
Okay.
bringing more harmony and balance.
Okay. So that could be like, I don't know, social justice,
Yeah.
activism.
Environmental activism,
Hmm.
even just being kind
Oh, okay.
in your everyday interactions.
I'm really starting to see how this idea of Tikkun Olam is both like personal and expansive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing our connection to everything and taking responsibility for making the world a better place.
Right, right.
But how does this connect to the idea of language as a mystical tool,
Oh, yeah.
which I think we touched on briefly before the break.
Right, right. Remember we were talking about how Kabbalah views Hebrew and how it has those hidden meanings, those mystical meanings?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a way, the act of interpreting those texts,
Yes.
uncovering those layers,
Yeah.
it's a form of tikkun.
Right.
You're bringing those hidden truths to light.
So by studying these texts, we're participating in tikkun olam.
Yeah, yeah, you're restoring wholeness
Yes,
to the world. And one of the tools Kabbalists use is gematria.
You're right.
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's a way of assigning these numerical values
Go.
to the Hebrew letters.
Okay.
And then you can find these connections between words or phrases.
It sounds a little bit like I don't know, a secret code.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of how gematria works?
Sure. So the Hebrew word for love, ahava,
Aha. Okay.
that has a numerical value of 13,
Okay.
and the word for one, akad.
Okay. Same numerical value. Wow. So love and oneness are connected through gematria.
Yeah.
I can see how that could lead to some pretty profound insights.
Yeah.
Are there other techniques that Kabbalists use besides gematria?
Yeah, definitely. There's notarikon.
Notarikon. Okay.
That's where you take the first or last letters of other words to create new words,
Oh, wow.
new phrases.
Okay.
And then there's tamira.
Tamua.
That's where you rearrange letters in specific ways
Okay.
to reveal hidden meanings.
Wow. So it's like a whole other level of reading.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I want to grab a Torah and just start deciphering.
It's a fascinating way to approach these texts.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember not every interpretation is universally accepted within Judaism.
Oh, right. You mentioned that. You mentioned that before. Can you tell us a little bit more about these different viewpoints?
Well, one of the most famous critics of early Kabbalah was Maimonides.
Maimonides.
He was a philosopher, a scholar, and he rejected certain mystical texts. He felt that their descriptions of God were too anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. You mean like portraying God in human terms?
Right. He believed that God's essence was way beyond our comprehension, and trying to describe God in human language could be misleading.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes me think of the idea of Ein Sof,
Yeah.
like as being like so beyond our grasp.
Exactly. And this is a key point, right?
Yeah.
Kabbalists often use metaphorical language to describe God,
Uh-huh.
and some traditional thinkers like Maimonides,
Right.
they're not comfortable with that.
So it's a debate about how we can even talk about God.
Right.
Like something so vast and unknowable.
Right. And these debates, I mean, they're still going on today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some Orthodox Jewish thinkers, they're concerned that Kabbalah, that the mystical teachings, it might distract from the traditional law and practice.
I could see that point. Like if you get too caught up in esoteric ideas, you might lose sight of the practical stuff.
Right. But Kabbalists would say that their teachings actually enhance understanding of traditional practices.
So it's more about seeing Kabbalah as a complement to traditional Judaism.
Yeah.
Not a replacement.
Exactly. It's about enriching and expanding.
And then there's the debate about the authenticity
Oh, yeah.
of some of the texts.
Right.
Like the Zohar.
Yeah, like the Zohar. The authorship, the dating, it's been questioned.
Wow, so there's a whole like web of scholarly debate around all of this.
There is.
It's amazing how something so ancient can still spark so much discussion.
It speaks to the power, the complexity.
Yeah, and I think we're really starting to appreciate those nuances now.
Yeah.
You know, we've gone from the basics of defining Kabbalah to exploring these really profound concepts and even touching on the controversies.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gained a much deeper understanding.
We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I think it's important to remember, for all the intellectual depth, Kabbalah is, at its core, a spiritual tradition.
Right. It's not just about accumulating knowledge.
Right.
Right. It's about connecting to something greater.
Exactly. Yeah. Exploring the mysteries of creation,
Yeah.
finding our place in the grand scheme of things.
That's beautifully put. But I think we've covered so much. I bet our listeners could use a little time to digest all this information. So let's take a short break, and then we'll come back to explore what all of this means for us, like, in our modern lives. All right, we're back, and wow, what a journey! This deep dive into Kabbalah has been, well, pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating exploration for sure.
From, like, those really complex ideas like Ein Sof and Tzimtzum to those debates and controversies.
Right.
I feel like we've really covered a lot.
We have.
But I'm curious now, like, how do we bring it all home?
Yeah.
What does this ancient wisdom have to offer us today in our modern world, which sometimes feels kind of chaotic?
Right.
Like, what can we as individuals, what can we take away from all of this?
For me, one of the most powerful takeaways from Kabbalah is this profound sense of interconnectedness. It reminds us that we're not just, these isolated individuals. Yeah.
Just floating through life. We're all part of this intricate web
Yeah.
of relationships with each other, with the universe,
Yeah.
with the divine.
I love that. Like, we're all, like, connected by these invisible threads of energy, meaning, and we've been talking about this cosmic dance, right? Between the infinite and the finite.
Yeah.
The spiritual and the physical. It's not just some, abstract concept. It's something we're all a part of.
Yeah, and that participation, it comes with responsibility.
Oh, right.
Remember Tikkun Olam?
Yeah.
Repairing the world.
Yeah.
That's a call to action.
Right.
Our choices, our actions, even our thoughts, they have this ripple effect.
So it's not just about, personal spiritual growth.
No.
It's about recognizing that we have a role to play in making the world a better place.
Exactly. Yeah. Kabbalah offers this framework.
For ethical living, for acting with compassion, with justice, working towards a more harmonious, balanced world.
Right.
It's about bringing those divine attributes like Chizd, Gevurah, Rakamim
Yeah.
into everything you do.
It's like we're all these, like, little sparks of the divine, and our job is to shine that light.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, sometimes it feels like the world's so full of darkness, chaos.
Yeah.
How can we as individuals make a difference?
It's daunting.
Yeah.
It's easy to get discouraged.
Yeah, it's easy to feel powerless, right? When you see so much suffering. But that's where this idea of individual tikkun comes in.
Individual tikkun.
Yeah. It's this teaching that each of us, we have this unique role in this grand scheme, and even small acts of kindness, moments of connection, those efforts to create positive change, they ripple out.
So it's not about trying to fix everything.
No.
It's about focusing on what you can control.
Exactly. Your own thoughts, your own words, your actions, and just trusting that those small acts, they can contribute.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so easy to feel powerless. But this is a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference.
Right.
Right where we are.
That's it. You got it.
This is pretty amazing. We started talking about Kabbalah as this system of thought.
Right.
But it's really a way of life.
Yeah.
It's a path to transformation.
You got it. It's about aligning yourself with those divine qualities and bringing them into everything you do.
Yeah.
How you interact with others, how you treat yourself, how you engage with the world.
This has been such a really incredible deep dive.
It has.
Exploring Kabbalah, exploring the depths of Kabbalah. I feel like we've learned so much. But I know there's always more to discover.
Always.
More layers to uncover. I'm definitely going to keep exploring.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Kabbalah, it invites you on this lifelong process of learning and growing and discovering.
And on that note, I think we've come to the end of our deep dive.
We have.
Into Kabbalah.
Yeah.
But before we go, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Some questions to ponder.
Yeah. If every action we take, if it impacts the spiritual realm, how might that change? How might that change your choices? What does it mean for you that even what we perceive as evil might have its roots in the divine.
Yeah.
If the Torah has infinite interpretations, what does your interpretation say about you? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.